assault is a very common offense. Note, some states and television and the movies may make a distinction between assault and battery. Texas, however, has no separate battery statute. All behaviors that might fall under battery in other jurisdictions are included under the Texas Penal Code offense of assault. There are basically three types of assault under the Penal Code assault statute: assault which causes bodily injury, assault that is sometimes informally called simple assault or assault by contact, and assault by threat. Keep in mind, in this screencast, we're not talking about aggravated assault, just assault. Aggravated assault has its own set of elements and circumstances. First, assault causing bodily injury. This is the most common type of assault and occurs when a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury to another person, including their spouse. This type of offense is an A misdemeanor and is very commonly associated with family violence. There are many circumstances that increase the penalty level for assault causing bodily injury. An actor who causes bodily injury to a person he or she knows is a public servant while the public servant is lawfully discharging an official duty or in retaliation for an exercise of official power or official duty has committed a felony of the third degree. Note, for the purposes of this offense, the Penal Code defines a public servant very broadly and includes people like firefighters, EMS, and emergency room workers. While peace officers and judges are indeed public servants, there is a separate enhancement for assault causing bodily injury against them later in this statute. Next, assault causing bodily injury is a felony of the third degree when a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury to a family or a household member or a person with whom the actor has a dating relationship if they have a previous conviction for assault, homicide, family violence, or strangulation. Even without a prior conviction to enhance the offense, a person who commits assault and causes bodily injury by strangulation, which is impeding the normal breathing or circulation of the blood of the person by applying pressure to the person's throat or neck, or by blocking the person's nose or mouth, will be punished as a felony of the third degree. So strangulation is very serious, and even though it can potentially cause serious bodily injury or death, don't get confused. It still falls under the assault statute, but it's graded as a felony of the third degree instead of a misdemeanor. It is also a felony of the third degree to cause bodily injury to a contract jail employee or staff member while the person is engaging in performing a service within the scope of the contract or in retaliation for the person's performance of a service within the scope of the contract. Assault causing bodily injury is also elevated to a felony of the third degree when it is against a licensed or registered security officer, emergency services personnel, a process server or someone whose job it is to deliver court papers and who is not a peace officer, a pregnant woman in order to force her to have an abortion or whom the actor knows is pregnant, or a person who is a Texas Civil Commitment Office employee while the actor is committed to a civil commitment facility. The next set of circumstances which raise the penalty level of assault causing bodily injury is when a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury against or in retaliation for an official duty performed by a judge or a peace officer. Assault with bodily injury against a peace officer or a judge is a felony of the second degree. A person who intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes bodily injury to a family or household member or a person with whom the actor has a dating relationship will be charged with a felony of the second degree if they have a previous conviction for kidnapping, aggravated kidnapping, a conviction under the criminal homicide chapter, or a previous conviction of continuous violence against the family, and the actor causes the bodily injury by strangulation. Up until this point, the assault offenses have all involved bodily injury as a required result. We'll now talk about assault by contact. Assault by contact is committed when a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly causes physical contact to another, including one's spouse, and the actor knows or should reasonably believe that the other will regard the contact as offensive or provocative. So a customer who grabs and squeezes a waitress's rear end through her clothes has committed assault by contact. So has one man who pushes another. Assault has occurred even though there's no bodily injury. Again, in layman's terms, This may be referred to as assault by contact or maybe even simple assault, and it's a C misdemeanor. There are 3 enhancements for assault by contact. An assault by contact committed against an elderly or disabled victim, or against a pregnant woman, or against a pregnant woman in order to force her to have an abortion, are both A misdemeanors. Assault by contact by a non-sports participant against or in retaliation for an official duty performed by a sports participant, so for instance, a fan coming out of the bleachers to make physical contact with a player at a game, would be punished as a B misdemeanor. We'll now move on to the third type of assault, assault by threat. This type of assault is when a person intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly threatens imminent bodily injury to another, including one's spouse. Again, this is informally referred to as assault by threat. The key word here is imminent. Imminent meaning the actor has the ability to make good on the threat immediately. For instance, threats to do bodily injury over the telephone, email, or by text message are generally not seen as imminent and fall under other penal code offenses. An assault by threat committed against a pregnant woman in order to force her to have an abortion or against a pregnant woman are both A misdemeanors. All other offenses of assault by threat are C misdemeanors. So a final reminder, the offenses we talked about today are all under the assault statute in the Texas Penal Code. We've characterized them by bodily injury, contact, and by threat just for the sake of clarity. There is no offense specifically titled assault by contact or assault by threat per se. All the elements we've discussed in this screencast are charged under the Penal Code offense of assault.